Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great start of the weekend so far. And hopefully I can make it a little bit better with this Ethereum analysis, which is not going to be as negative as it has been in the last week. I mean, ultimately, Ethereum is holding on relatively well. Purely technically, it's actually holding on very well. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the technicals, what the current situation is. And why I'm saying that we are holding on well, and then we will talk about the fundamentals. We will not talk about the fundamentals specifically for Ethereum. I don't think that there's anything really relevant that we need to talk about regarding the fundamentals for Ethereum short term, right? And this is, in a sense, a short-term analysis. This is about this weekend. This is about early next week, what to expect then. What should you be prepared for, and what is most likely? So that's what we're going to do. So let's get right into it, and let's start off with the technicals. I think it's better to sketch the technical situation we're in right now, then talk about the relevant fundamentals that affect that technical situation, and then ultimately end with what I would expect under those circumstances, under those technical and fundamental conditions, what is most likely. Does it still make sense? Hopefully. Let's get right into it. So ultimately, Ethereum has been able to hold relatively well at this support level between 3100 and 3150. We've pulled back into that after the bearish pressure on Thursday. It was to be expected as well. We already spoke about that Thursday morning, that one of the key things that also caused the bearish pressure a week before, right here, was coming back. Right? We had repo operations, and at this point of time, I hope that I'll be able to look that up quickly. But at this point of time, we also still have a very elevated SOFR spread. Those are both symptoms of liquidity stress. Okay, and liquidity stress in combination with some other things, but I think it's mostly liquidity stress, to be fair, caused the unrest in the general financial markets to increase, which is shown right here with the volatility index, which significantly increased from Wednesday until Friday. That caused uncertainty in the financial markets, that caused equities to pull back, and that caused crypto, which is more and more, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, more and more getting correlated with equities. It caused that to pull back as well. So that is where we are right now. And that is, like I said, at this point of time, fundamentally, that is still a problem. But even though that problem has continued, Ethereum has actually been able to hold the same levels as we held Tuesday the 4th of November. So that, especially if you compare it to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is trading lower than those levels, is relatively bullish, right? And we're also holding the yearly rolling VWAP. The yearly rolling VWAP is incredibly important for Ethereum. I cannot stress that enough. And then outside of that, so far, like what happens quite often is that when you have a spike like this, right, so the 4th of November, we had that spike into 3100. What happens very often is that the price, bounces up from that spike. That's why it's a spike. And then at some point of time, it deviates back to that price to test the buyer conviction. Ultimately, buyers stepped in right here. They wanted to buy Ethereum at those prices, and they get tested at some point of time. And so far, they are passing the test pretty well. Okay, you can see that we dropped down into that spike, and so far we've been able to hold that, and we actually got some buyers stepping in as well. Yesterday afternoon, for example, when we actually saw that the liquidity problems were a little bit less. So technically, we're holding on very well. The buyer conviction has been tested. We're holding the yearly rolling VWAP very well. We have a weak low right here at the 3070, but that's also not the end of the world. So I would say technically, it is most likely that we're able to hold this, and that at least we're going to fill some of those imbalances to the downside or to the upside. We have imbalances at 3280, we have imbalances at 3350, we have a naked point of control at 3400. So I think technically this is most likely. Ultimately, I think this is most likely, but the thing is that I would never buy Ethereum right here because those fundamentals, those underlying fundamentals in regards to liquidity, but some other things as well, uncertainty about the interest rate decision, for example, that is too big still. Okay, so there's too much uncertainty, which makes this a very risky setup. And if we get some sort of if the situation becomes worse over the course of early next week, like we can easily still spike into that imbalance we have at 2800, bottom out there, and then reclaim the yearly rolling VWAP. I think 2800 is a much more interesting buy area when it comes to getting it in Ethereum. Ultimately, current prices, technically it looks most likely will bounce. I think fundamentally it's more likely we're going to pull back once more. So those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. I'll keep you updated on this, of course. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.